That's correspondent George Gonzalez. In Dallas, the same jury that convicted a white former police officer in the fatal shooting of the Blackacre has returned to court to consider her sentence, which could range from 5 years to life in prison. 31-year-old Robert Gunn, who said she mistook both of John's apartment for her home, which was directly below the house, was convicted of murder on Tuesday. More of these stories at townhall.com. From Dallas, I'm John Scott.
The following is an American Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of American Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Hello and welcome back to Talking Truth to Power, Reno's and Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio. I am your host, Brendan Trainor. My co-host is sitting across from me today after coming down from a chillier Lake Tahoe, Leland Faegre.
A little chillier, but it was a lot of sun.
Okay.
It was a lot of sun, and we had some nice amounts of snow this past weekend.
Oh, you got some? I know it hit further north, but so it hit up in the mountain too.
A little whiteout knuckle on the steering wheel episodes up there. So yeah, make sure your four-wheel drive is engaging.
Well, it's once again we can hardly keep up with what's going on, as we have.
We can't?
Yeah, we're here. Maybe give you some insight that you're not hearing on the mainstream media. And, of course, the first order of business is Shifty Schiff and the bribing Bidens.
Whose relationship with Jacob Schiff has come to light here on Talking Truth to Power.
Jacob Schiff, yes. The Schiff and the Rothschild family grew up together in the same home in Frankfurt, Germany, back in the days. Mm-hmm. And they both became very successful. And the reason why we mention it is that Jacob Schiff is the one who bragged that he paid for the sealed railroad car that brought Lenin and about 200 other Bolsheviks into Russia.
And $20 million worth of gold.
$20 million worth of gold, yes, sir. Which was some real money in those days.
Serious money in those days,
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what started the whole Russian Revolution. And but whether or not Jacob is a communist, he may not believe he is, but
he's an international socialist.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
He has no fear of communism at all. I mean, what was the quote from the Rothschilds of he doesn't need to control any government? He's a central banker.
and that's it. The central banks and the investment banks are the worst culprits in the banking scheme, as well as the government mandated dollar-denominated world order and the fractional reserve banking controlled by central banking. There's a big debate over whether you could have fractional reserve banking under the Andrew Jackson, I'm talking about. President Andrew Jackson, famously had his battle with Nicholas Biddle and the Second Bank of the United States, and he vetoed the bill. And after that, he spent, and his successor as well, spent some time creating an independent treasury that would be divorced from banking, and then banks then would be competitive. They wouldn't be tied into a central bank that set interest rates and everything else. And you could probably have a good system with fractional reserve banking on that side. Other people say that you should get rid of fractional reserve banking altogether and just have 100% reserve banking, where they only lend what they have.
That way money could not be inflated.
Right, exactly.
Here's the direct quote from Amschel Rothschild. Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws.
That's right.
So there's the direct quote.
Or and that's why they are accused of nefarious crimes, such as backing both sides starting wars, and then backing both sides,
including our Civil War.
Yes, that's. So there's a lot to explore there, but we don't really have time for that. I don't.
We
think.
Don't.
Well, we're not. I'm not prepared to, but I mean, I could talk off the top of my head on a lot of this stuff.
We
But
need another hour, don't we?
yeah. So
You know, Rush has 3 hours.
what?
Limbaugh only gets.
Yeah, Rush.
He has 3 hours. We
3
only
hours.
get.
We only
one.
get one. Yes.
Something the matter with that.
Yes. And we could use your help, of course, if people were to help us. We could possibly raise enough money to be able to give you more of Talking Truth to Power. And you can contact our number now. Eddie Floyd is recovering. Our dear manager, director of public relations, founder of America Matters Media in Reno, KCKQ 1180 AM. But you could call his office at 827-8900 and see if you'd like to sponsor our show. We welcome people to participate.
And you can wish him well at the same time.
Yes, at the same time. Yes, he's recovering from knee surgeries.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can send flowers to Eddie as you send them to Bernard Sanders.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. What hospital in Nevada is Bernie in?
Does it matter? He's going to get VIP treatment, notwithstanding his plan for everybody else. He's going to be taken care of.
And if he was in Cuba, he would also get VIP
Yeah,
treatment.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Cubans are very conscious of their image.
Because they know something about healthcare in Cuba.
Yeah, well, they're very conscious of their image, and Cuban doctors are pretty darn good. I mean, the only thing is they only make $25 a month, and when Cuba sends them off to other countries, they often defect. So that's a problem. It's an ongoing problem.
It's an ongoing one.
A few years ago, there were pictures taken of how ordinary people are treated in Cuban hospitals. You know, you have to bring your own blanket. The hospital does not have sheets or blankets.
What
you
else
have to
do you
bring
have
that
to bring?
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you have to bring bug spray apparently, because a famous picture is a sick Cuban person sitting on the top level of a double-decker bed bunk, and on the floor is just filled with cockroaches.
Nice.
Yeah. But the elites, of course, the Michael Moores that go to Cuba, they only see what the elites get. You know, they they get top-notch.
You got a film crew with you? We got a special room for you guys.
All right. And so we have now, but getting back to the topic of the day, we do have this impeachment process, which is, you know, frankly, is beginning to look more and more ridiculous. Yes.
It's a coup. It's not an impeachment.
Yeah, Trump was right. It's just a continuation of the same old, same old.
They're making up the rules as they go along. Historically, not that there have been too many, but impeachment processes begin with the judiciary, not with the Intelligence Committee.
Right.
So why is it over at Schiff's desk?
Because the intelligence community has more power.
And they can keep it to themselves?
Always
claim, you know, that they can't share something because it's a significant
top secret.
intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll have to get back on the other side of the break.
Ready for a live game of Clue? For nearly 30 years, Funtime Theaters held private and monthly dinner murder mysteries. Each night is different, and
You're invited to join Business Connections with Anita every Wednesday from 10 to 11 a.m. here on 1180 a.m. KCKQ America Matters.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, my co-host, Leland Faegre, and we are broadcasting on our website, Facebook group, Talking Truth to Power.
Yep.
From whence we sprang.
Yeah, absolutely right. What was it, 95 the show went on the air?
You know,
2005.
2005. I
Yep.
think so. We go back quite a ways. If you look at our archives on America Matters, you can see that we go back quite a ways. And we've had, this is our second or third incarnation.
And this iteration for me started actually a year ago.
Yes.
I've been here a year now. So
excellent. And we would like to get back now to the what's going on with Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff has a lot of, I think we've touched on this, contacts with the Ukraine, and especially the Ukrainian diaspora, which is extremely anti-Russian. And it refers again to something that we've talked about a few times, how the elites there are always divisions among the elites in any government, but there's a division between the Blue Empire and the Red Empire. And the Blue Empire is one of their main constituents, blue meaning Democrat or leftist, is the CIA. So it's, of course, obvious that this whistleblower was a CIA agent. And
The New York Times has reported this, and they are reporting this morning, and not that this is any kind of a surprise, but that Schiff received a very early document on the whistleblower's connection to this.
Oh, okay.
And I think
that's why they were ready to go even before it was released.
Pounce on it immediately. Yeah, they were ready.
Okay. So Schiff has ties especially to the Ukraine. Now, whenever we get involved unnecessarily in the internal conflicts of another country, you're going to have people from that country that are going to be brought over here and are going to be part of our government, and not necessarily for the good. So we've been involved with the Ukraine since 2004. The first color revolution was called the Orange Revolution. The first Soros takeover of regime change in the Ukraine occurred as far back as 2004.
When did the Clintons take over the Ukraine?
That was in 2014.
After the CIA coup?
Yes. And so...
Because that's really what this is all about here.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And we know that... we know that Schiff has connections with the Ukrainian arms dealer named Igor Pasternak, who has helped him raise funds among the Ukrainian diaspora. And it's also been noted on this show that the Ukrainian diaspora is very prominent in our neighbor to the north, Canada. And their Victoria Freeland is actually the granddaughter of a former Nazi, and she has ties to the Ukrainian right wing and the Canadian government.
There's a right wing in Canada?
Well, there is a right. I mean, even the Liberal Party is actually, even though they have legalized pot, that's good. They're actually basically, at least as far as foreign policy goes, right wing in most of their attitudes. And although they do not like Saudi Arabia, I'll give them props for that. They have gone against Saudi Arabia, like accepting that Saudi Arabian woman that fled the country because of her stand. I don't know if it was on driving or on something else, but she fled the country and Canada accepted her in. So I'll give him props for that. But
Khashoggi, his murder was a year ago today.
Yes, all right. And guess what? MBS is still there, although if right now, because of the fact that our Patriot missiles and our THAAD air defenses could not stop the poorest country in the Middle East, Yemen, from initiating a drone strike.
And still no determined source for that drone strike.
They still don't know where it came from.
Right.
Yeah. So
at least they're not telling us.
Right. And the reason is that the Patriot system didn't even work as it was intended, but it was intended to strike ballistic missiles that rise up in the air and then come down.
Yeah, even the Brits didn't want that thing, did they?
No.
Yeah, and way back.
Yeah, and of course Erdogan doesn't want it.
He made that clear last week.
Yes, and so our attempt to defeat Russia started with Reagan by buying into this whole Star Wars defensive strategy. Yeah. And that caused us, George Bush, to pull out of the anti-ballistic missile defense. And so that endangered Russia because, as Russia says, all these anti-ballistic missile systems that they're putting in Eastern Europe, like Romania, what's to say they wouldn't put an offensive missile in there?
Just to mix it up.
Yeah, they could mix it up, and the Russians, supposedly wouldn't know unless they have a spy on the ground, but... Yeah, so they could do that, and so they're a threat to Russia, but they're not effective against modern army because all the while that we've been building these, like the F-35 bomber, that costs something like, it's $1 billion to build 3 of them. It cost over $300 billion a piece. And, they don't work in bad weather. And they're obsolete. And this is trillions and trillions of dollars we put not only in the wars in the Middle East, but in all the energy that we put into it. And the fact that we have absolutely nothing to show for it as far as our military capabilities. And again, we have criticized President Trump for continuing to brag about how America is the greatest military in the world, and it's a $700 billion military, but what have we gotten for that kind of money? And not only do we see it in Saudi Arabia, but we're also seeing it in China. And one of the things I want to
manifest in hypersonic weapons.
Yes. Yeah, the China military parade has received very little coverage, except, look at them with those communists with their military parades.
Nice uniforms.
Yes. But what they showed was that the Chinese have capabilities to completely thwart the U.S. military strategy for world domination. They presented not only the hypersonic missiles, but several different kinds of drones that we've never seen before, and also they have upgraded their submarines. So our system is built on 2 things. Our military industrial strategy is built on air dominance. We expect to go into any war and completely dominate the skies, completely crush, like we did in Gulf War I when Saddam stupidly left his planes on the airfields and we just bombed the crap out of him, took out his whole air force. And so that's...
Bolton takes credit for that.
Yeah. So we expect every country to just leave their air force sitting there on the fields while we attack them and destroy them. And also the fact that it's aircraft carrier dominated. Now, even in the 50s, a serious military strategist was saying aircraft carriers are no good against peer competitors like China or Russia. They're only good to intimidate third world countries, or undeveloped countries. You pull up to Peru in an aircraft carrier, they're probably going to do what you want to do. But you pull up to China, especially now with all their armaments, and don't forget, while Russia has always been attacked by land, China has always been attacked by sea. That's why it's so serious about defending the China Seas, because that's where all the attacks come. You can go back to the British Opium Wars when Britain controlled the waters and forced China to its knees over the opium situation. So the Chinese are well prepared. There's no way that we can send any kind of battleships or any kind of ships in the Taiwan Straits. I mean,
they've been going through there lately.
Yeah, but in case of a war, there's no way that would be sustainable.
It would be very difficult, yes.
Yeah. And so, as even the president of Iran said that, and when we were bringing the aircraft carriers to Iran and during the recent confrontations, Rouhani said that the aircraft carriers are not a threat, they're a target. And that's exactly right. So our whole entire defense system that we have been spending trillions of dollars on over the last 30 years is just obsolete, and it just doesn't work. And so we have to start rethinking and pulling back our commitments, as Pat Buchanan has been saying for quite some time. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's just not tenable anymore that we can dominate the world militarily. And I think I think that President Trump gets that, at least on some level.
He understands that,
yeah.
Especially in the context of the superpower status that China believes it is capable of achieving. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael Pillsbury's The 100-Year Marathon is a great book on that subject. It's a stealth attempt to be the world's ultimate superpower. And it's, in plain view, but it's not developed fully yet. So we'll see how far they can get in that direction before it's recognized.
Okay. And I, on the other hand, think that what Russia and China is proposing is a new world order of without any empire, although my esteemed colleague disagrees with me.
I could not disagree more.
But we'll see where that goes. And so all we can do is talk and, hem and haw, and send more Patriot missile systems and everything when they just simply don't work. So we'll pick up on this or other topics when we get back after the break.
Hi, I'm Bill Kendall. I've practiced law in Northern Nevada for over 25 years, and I specialize in representing injured people in their fights for just compensation and in representing parents in custody.
Hi everybody, this is Sharon Oran with Coffee with Sharon. Remember, Thursday, 5 p.m., I'll be here. Will you?
Brought to you in part by Michael's Reno Power Sports.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now, back to the show.
Hi, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio. I am your host.
And around the world.
And around the world, yes. Yeah. We're on www.americamatters.us. We're streaming there live at this time when you speak, so any of our friends around the world can hear us. One of the things that Americans are not really involved with is when we're talking about our military-industrial complex is the role of the think tanks, the NGOs, and people assume that because they're non-government institutions that they're, good people or they're neutral or whatever you want to call it. So
I'd like to make a better world.
Yes,
that's what they're trying
to do. They're out there. They're spreading democracy,
and most of them believe that actually.
Yeah, probably do. Yeah. So we'd like to talk a little bit about the Atlantic Council because you may see them on giving one of their meetings on C-SPAN. And they're very much involved with our foreign policy and with our government. And they are called a non-governmental organization. But if you go to atlanticcouncil.org, and then you can find the honor roll of contributors, you can see under the first heading is $1 million donations. And there you see things like...
And that is a condition for membership.
I don't know if it's a condition of membership because there are different levels of donations.
There are conditions at the CFR. I assume it works the same.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you see, for a non-governmental organization, they get at least $1 million a year from the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And that's interesting because Britain is very much involved with the British government is very much involved in both the print media. We talked about the Integrity Initiative, where they pay European journalists to write anti-Russian stories. And also, it's been recently revealed they're very much involved in social media through what's called Brigade 777.
And not to mention the BBC.
Yes, and not, well, yeah, you mean the BBC?
Yeah. So they have effectively been financing media operations for years.
Yes. Also, $1 million donator, Facebook Incorporated.
Oh. Dare you bring that up?
Yes, and that's relevant to us because of so many people that are being canceled off of social media. And Facebook actually has the help of, quote-unquote help, of the Atlantic Council in ferreting out those violent and evil people on their pages that dare to print things criticizing the U.S. foreign policy and all its glory. Also, $1 million contributor is the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates. And then going
they don't
down,
have anything to do with the Atlantic at all, do they?
No. Further down, the next level, from $500,000 to $999,999 exactly, we see the United States Department of State. So we're contributing to the Atlantic Council. And then $250,000 to $500,000 donations. We have the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, Chevron.
Shocking.
Yes. Hold on. There's the Open Society Foundations. You know who that is? George Soros.
Oh, is that his?
Yeah, that's his main.
Well, you knew he was a
NGO.
sponsor of the Atlantic Council. I mean, he sponsors everything.
Yeah.
Anything globalist, anything socialist, and anything that promotes climate change nonsense.
The Rockefeller Brothers Fund.
Yep. Oh, yeah, because they're globalists.
And Victor Pinchuk. Victor Pinchuk is a name that will come up in future talks about his relationship to the Ukraine, but he's been a big player in the Ukraine, so he gives up to $500,000 a year.
My take on the Atlantic Council, and it always has been, that it is sort of a blue version of NATO.
Yes. It's a
both,
front.
And they promote the globalism, the transatlantic globalism, that NATO also serves to protect.
Yes.
Ostensibly.
Yes.
Serves to protect.
Hence the name Atlantic Council, because they're Atlanticists.
Right.
Is one word to use.
If they can
describe
entangle our destiny with European state on the other side of the Atlantic, that's the probably not likely mentioned goal of it, but that's what they're promoting.
So another donor that gives up to $250,000 a year, Burisma Oil and Gas. Yeah. And they have certainly been in the news lately. CNN, big
Shocking.
Contributor.
Absolutely shocking.
Eddie Hadwell, that general. Google gives up to $250,000 a year, and Lockheed Martin, the big military-industrial complex. Raytheon, another MIC organization.
Yeah, neither of those institutions have any problem with globalism.
The United States Department of Defense, the Air Force Academy, and so it goes. And then, I know this.
And so if that money comes from the Department of Defense, it comes from the taxpayers.
Right, exactly.
So effectively, the United States
we're
citizens are actually subsidizing.
But it's called a non-governmental organization.
Helping out George Soros.
Yes.
Can't make some of this stuff up, can you?
No, you can't.
It's just unbelievable.
And that, and keep in mind that Russia expelled quite a few NGOs in recent years for subversion, and I wish we could too, but unfortunately, we can't do that.
We can't?
No, I guess not. But there are other luminaries on their. They also have.
Oh, it's a who's who of wealth and power. Right?
Madeleine Albright is an advisor. Yeah, it just goes on and on. So these are people that promote NATO and promote Atlanticism and the New World Order, globalism, whatever you want to call it, and they're also heavily involved in the media and in as far as censorship with Facebook and the other social media giants. They're one of the people they rely on to censor dissidents.
I didn't hear a single institution or name in that list that you cited that would represent our side of the position on these issues.
I was looking for the Ron Paul Institute of Peace, but I didn't
Not
find
there,
it.
huh?
No, I didn't find it there.
You'll be left looking for that.
Yeah. So anyway, I would like to mention in this segment also that we have. I'd like to congratulate Tulsi Gabbard on making the October debate, so we'll be able to see her.
Yeah, that's exciting, isn't it?
Yes.
That she managed to. I think I can. How'd that children's rhyme go?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to be in there, so that's good. That's the only thing that'll be, worthwhile tuning in for.
Yes, exactly. And unless we can see Biden implode, that would be fun to watch too. But otherwise,
it'd be fun to watch them all implode, actually. But
yeah.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah. So I wonder who she'll take down this time.
So you didn't see Diamond and Silk on that list of sponsors of the Atlantic Council?
No, I didn't.
Huh?
No, I didn't. But Rupert Murdoch, the president of Fox News, he's a and a contributor. What do you call it? An advisor. They have a list of their advisors too, and he was on that list.
Yeah, he entangles himself with everything. So.
Yeah, but he is a globalist. He is a neocon.
Yes, he is.
And so we're looking forward to that, and you can help Tulsi Gabbard. She could always use a little money. It doesn't take a lot, but go to her Tulsi 2020 website, and you can sign up there and get her emails and so on. And I've been listening in on some of her.
Are you working for the campaign, by the way?
No. I'm not working for the campaign. I just want to see that.
You just want a fair playing stage for these
Yes.
people. Yeah.
I want to see that her voice is heard for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked the Tulsi people whether she would consider a third-party run, and they said no. If anything, she would run for Senate. And boy, if she could take out that awful Hawaiian senator that has told men should just sit down and shut up during the Kavanaugh hearings.
And I'll bet she would love to do that herself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably in the back of her mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do they call that when you were the tertiary prize when children were not victorious in any game that they played? What was it? Consolation prize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it would be for her. Yeah.
And because Tulsi, for all her faults, at least she's not. So as far as I know, she's not proposing an unconstitutional wealth tax to pay for any programs that government programs that she endorses.
That's encouraging.
She's going to take it from the military-industrial complex, as far as I can see.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can take it from there, one thing that I'd like to say, people are saying that all this focus on impeachment, the Congress isn't solving any problems. Well, I don't have much faith in the Congress solving problems anyway.
Did you hear Amadei's entangling alliance with the inquiry the other day with
yes,
Neil
he put
Cavuto?
out a press release. Oh, I didn't hear what he said to Neil.
Well, it's hard to know what he said. I went back and looked at it because I caught it live, and then I said, well, what did he actually say? So I went back to look at the video, and I'm not sure he really has a grasp of this. That what's at stake here. Mm-hmm. I called his office this morning here locally because I was
wondering if you would.
Yeah, I wanted him on the show, and they, no, he's busy today, and you'll have to contact Jessica up at the D.C. office. So, okay, I'll call her then. See if we can get her on the show.
Okay.
But honestly, with people in the foxholes like that on our side, who needs Democrats?
Exactly.
Join the Funtime Theater this fall as we make a history.
Hi, I'm Shonda Golden. Join Leslie Moon and I every Wednesday at 3 p.m. for American Women, where we'll talk about issues affecting all of us with select guests.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power, Nevada's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, and my co-host, Leland Faegre. And for this final segment of the show, even though it's a good deal away from April 15th, I would like to talk about a new book that I came across recently. It's called American Gumption Catharsis. That's American Gumption Catharsis. It cost $10, and it's written by Brian Wright, and you can Google him. He's got a web page.
You can also show it to the camera behind me. You can see it there. American Gumption
American
Catharsis.
Gumption Catharsis.
Yeah. And
this is a book about somebody that we have talked about and we've had on the show, and we've also had another supporter on the show talking about him, and that's Pete Hendrickson, who is a libertarian tax activist who lives in Michigan, in the Detroit suburbs, and he has what Brian endorses as the discovery, and he starts off the foreword, I think, is pretty powerful to my mind. He says, "What action have you taken recently, if ever, that move the ball forward down the field to score any kind of real points in your life or the lives of those you care about for liberty and even an immediate victory, never mind a long-term victory. Like, for example, this is all things that I'm sure Leland has done, I know I have done. Listened to a presentation at a dinner club or delivered a presentation. I used to be in Toastmasters. Attended a state legislative committee hearing. Most of us have done that. Attended a city council meeting, wrote a letter to or phoned your legislatures, become active in a minor political party or become a minor party candidate, joined a protest against corrupt power, handed out literature, gone door to door, petitioned for a party candidate or issue, attended a cocktail party for a good cause, or voted, wrote something, skewered a troll on social media. How many people have done any or all of these things? And this is what's considered conventional political activity for their heartfelt beliefs. But how many of you understand that we now have 15 years of success and the movement is growing? And that is upon understanding the U.S. federal tax law to file simple corrections to erroneous reports of income by third parties, retaining or recovering incorrectly withheld earnings. And that's all income tax withholdings, state and federal, and even including payroll taxes, which was unheard of before Pete Hendrickson showed up and became the first American to get a complete refund, including his Social Security, FICA, and unemployment tax. And the average benefit for this person, for those who do this, is $10,000 a year. Now, how many people can come on the air and say you can save $10,000 by upholding the Constitution and the rule of law?
Pretty powerful message.
Yes, it is. It is.
This is not